Hello everyone and welcome yourselves back to the YouTube channel, and today we're back with another movie review. And today, very delayed on reviewing this because I actually watched it a couple of weeks back, but we took a little bit of a break from YouTube just because my brain was fried with how much stuff I wanted to do and with work and stuff. But anyway, Scary Movie 6, it is out. It's been out for a couple of weeks. Have you seen it? What are your thoughts? Let me know down below. Spoilers ahead, subscribe like as always, and let's get into Scary Movie 6. So, this is obviously, technically, if you will, it's a sequel to number 4. I don't even think they mention at all number 5. Um, but it's in many ways a sequel to number 2 because it's the first Wayans Brothers scary movie since they did the first and second one, and then they lost the rights to whoever did the third and fourth one and the fifth one. Obviously, the actresses who played Sydney and Brenda, they were involved in all 4, and again, it was completely differently recasted for the fifth one. You had most of the cast that featured in number 1, with Hans, who was in number 2 as that guy who was in number 2, and he was like the butler, the caretaker in the haunted house. I just thought this film was fun. It was terrific. It was so many callbacks, so many Easter eggs. I love how they went back to the ghost face, and it was basically, obviously number 2 exists, but I love how it was taking all the good from the Scary Movie 1. You know, you had Bobby who made a cameo, but it's more of a hallucination. You had Dewey, he was hilarious in this film. How he basically did, he played Doofy. He had the Dewey death in this film, and how he does the whole smelling his ass and stuff like that. And when he dies, he gets the knives and he's just shitting himself. The woman who worked at the hospital, a standout character. She was so funny. I love how there were so many references to Scream. I love how it was basically the plot of Scream 5, and Tara's character was Tuesday, so she was playing like Wednesday, but also Tara's character. Um, Obviously, the killers ended up being obvious in the end. They were basically the same two who were the killers in Scream 5, but you know the way they did it. I love how there's references to Get Out and Ma, and how there was a White Chicks cameo and the Epstein files were mentioned. It was my favorite scene. If you've seen Scary Movie 2, where it's the Get Out scene where this black guy's running towards Shorty, and then he runs forward and then he runs right. And you thinking what? Because it's like the scene in Get Out, but then Ray's behind him and he goes, "Uncle Ray's gonna get you," and it's just little things like that. It catches you off guard, and it's just the funniest thing. I was laughing for most of the film. There was a couple of dry spots, but I think Ray killed it. I think he's not lost it. Shorty's not lost it. When the person was in the Ghostface costume was funny, hilarious. Like the opening segment was one of my favorite scary movie openings, where she has abdominal. She has basically steel abs, and then Ghostface gets jumped, and it's the most comical introduction ever. Carmen Electra gets a little cameo, and she was joking about how she was in an opening segment once in Scary Movie 1. I love how the killers ended up being Anthony Anderson, is that his name? And Shaquille O'Neal. Anthony, who featured in number 3 and 4. And they joked about Kevin Hart, but then it was Shaquille O'Neal who featured in Scary Movie 4 in the Saw scene. Little things like that. It's like the fact that the actual killers were people who didn't feature in any of the film, and the Wayans brothers were part of the killers. And then Regina Hall and Anna Faris' character, Sydney and Brenda, their characters became the killers, and then they left all the kids to die in the house and they walked away. It was the most chaotic, funny, brilliant ending I've seen. The fact they all just left their kids to die was absolutely comedy gold. I think this is one of those films. It's not as good as the first two, but because of the first two, it's so fun and so good. A lot of references to, your chat GPTs, your pronouns, your OnlyFans, your social media, your Gen Z, there was 6-7 reference, all that sort of stuff they threw in there because that's your modern stuff that that the world is just talking about and it's at the top of everything. I, it was cool to see the weapons, but there was two scenes, like the weapon scene. I'll mention this. It was really cool to see it, but then one of the kids was going 6-7, 6-7, and then gets hit by the car. Like no kids watching this. It's an 18, I think. Like obviously is cinema they're not watching it, but they might watch it eventually. And then they did a singing scene where it was a rip-off from Golden from Demon Hunters, which again, for the most part, your demographic is kids. I love Demon Hunters; it's a fantastic film, but I thought that was just a really weird scene. But it was almost like I was on drugs while Shorty was doing the singing. Very um intriguing on the placement, but yeah, it was weird. That scene was just weird. But yeah, overall, I think bringing all the characters back, having things. Also, the Lachlan Monroe thing with the whole penis thing, which was a throwback to Scary Movie 1, and then how it had been chopped off. Oh, it was just things like that that make you go, Scary Movie 1 made this film better. So does that make this film good? I say so, yes, because they still had their own moments that they could stand on their own. And I think all the returning characters mixed in from those two films, as well as the new cast, who weren't the best, but they were still good, made Scary Movie 6 what it is. And I think it's at least an 8 out of 10 film. Maybe a 7 at worst, but I overall think it had a brilliant opening, had a brilliant premise, great conclusion. There was funny moments, there was some great acting, there was some bad acting, there was some cringy moments, there was some daft moments. But as an overall film, it was brilliant. I think it was such a great way to get back into the Scary Movie universe. It will not be everyone's cup of tea. Some people will hate this film, some people will think it's shit, some people will think it's a cash grab. But overall, I think the main thing it was so the Wayans could get a film out there and say, okay, this is our franchise again. Could we make a Scary Movie 7? I don't think they should because it becomes too stupid. This was their way back in to say, okay, these are our characters, this is our world. But yeah, you could make a sequel. You just keep making shit up. You could just keep making shit up forever. But overall, Scary Movie 6, I'm gonna give it a 7, 8 out of 10. Yeah, go check it out for yourself. Let me know down below your thoughts on Scary Movie 6. And yeah, subscribe like as always. I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.